buildings, shops, and restaurants. People and traffic. A street is the heartbeat of a city. Here a door opens on local life. History is brought into the present. Travelogue takes you on a tour of the streets of some of China's towns and cities. Travel with Travelogue.
Hey, welcome to Travelogue. I'm Liu Changying. In this episode, we continue our street special, and we're here at the ancient city of Nanjing, which means the southern capital. The meaning is right opposite to Beijing, which means the northern capital. Let's wander on the streets of Nanjing together. Welcome to Nanjing.
Boasting a prestigious imperial past, serving as inspiration for many poets, the city of Nanjing is the place where you can get really close to history. I mean really, really close. It sits on the lower reaches of the Yangtze River, a strategic position of such importance that 6 ancient dynasties have made Nanjing its capital city. Today, Nanjing is the sprawling capital of Jiangsu province, with a population of over 6 million people. We are going to show you Nanjing through 3 special streets: the Yudaojie Street, the Changjiang Street, and the Gaochun Old Street, which is over 1 hour's drive from downtown Nanjing.
That is one of the oldest streets in Nanjing. It's called Yudaojie, which means the Royal Pathway Street. During Ming Dynasty, before the emperor moved the capital north to Beijing, all the important ministries like the military, the superior court, they were all lined along that street. And now we've just entered Wumen, which means the Meridian Gate. So I'm walking on the 6-meter wide stone pavement. This was reserved only for the royal family and very high-ranking officials. This means only those people could use that gate.
Entering Wumen, you leave behind the traffic of modern times and enter the imperial city of the Ming Dynasty. Inside the gate of Wumen is another small open-air museum where people keep a small garden-like space to display some of the stone architectural elements.
So remember, this is the Royal Pathway Road. It links to the imperial city and the palace city, which was surrounded by high walls. Unfortunately, these walls are already gone. But fortunately, the outer city wall, which surrounds the whole Nanjing city, much of it still remains standing. And here we are at this little corner, right beside the famous Xuanwu Lake. The outer city wall was built along a natural river, so it doesn't go in a straight way. And the river served as a kind of a natural moat. That side is outer city, and that side is inside the city. Of course, today the city of Nanjing has long grown sprawling out of the city wall. So they have the city wall right inside the city of Nanjing. Quite a treasure, isn't it?
The outer city wall is acclaimed as the longest city wall in China. Standing with a height between 14 to 21 meters, it stretches over 33 kilometers, and most of its parts still remain standing amid the city of Nanjing. A responsibility system ensures the quality of each brick.
Nanchang Tidiaoguan. Well, to be honest, I don't recognize every character on that brick. But one thing's for sure is that it recorded names of the site of production and the title of official who was overseeing the production of these bricks. And on the other side of the brick, like this one, people wrote particular names of particular workers who worked on this particular brick.
After over 600 years, these stone walls still stand here silently as valid witnesses to the passing of time, though the face of the city has long changed.
Buildings, shops, and restaurants. People and traffic. A street is the heartbeat of a city. Here a door opens on local life. History is brought into the present. Travelogue takes you on a tour of the streets of some of China's towns and cities. Travel with Travelogue.
Today, with high-rises and skyscrapers, the skyline of Nanjing has changed much.
Like many other cities around the country, old narrow alleyways like this are disappearing. But here in Nanjing, if you look carefully, you can still find old alleyways, and along which old buildings that give you a sense of how the city used to be like.
I've just entered Ganjia Dayuan, former residence of the Gan family. The huge compound wasn't built in one day, but was gradually expanded over years through several generations. The most famous figure in the family is a man named Gan Xi, a scholar of Qing dynasty. The massive wooden decoration and the scale of the residence tell tales the affluence of the family.
So the home is basically made up of structures and courtyards. And I just love courtyards in southern China. People pave it with all kinds of patterns, with pebble stones and bricks. And this courtyard is paved with bricks like this one. But it's not the usual way we see. It's not paved with the brick lying down the ground. The brick stands like this. So we have this thick a pavement on the courtyard, under my feet, very strong and endurable. Above that, this courtyard never floods during summer's time, even though it rains a lot here in Nanjing, because it has a very good drainage system. Here, there are 4 wells at the 4 corners of the courtyard. This is actually a well. When summer's time, when it rains, the water goes through this well to the underground drainage system. Some people say people of today can't make such good drainage system anymore.
The Gan residence has a total of over 300 rooms, but people only say it has 99 and a half. Why? One explanation is that during the Qing dynasty, nobody was supposed to own a home with over 100 rooms, except the royals. So no matter how large you made your home, you could only say you had 99 and a half rooms. Basically, such grand home complex is composed of many small courtyards that are linked with one another. Pushing a window open, I tried to picture a life here. It was a time when girls were not supposed to leave the courtyard, especially the girls from such a rich, influential family. and the narrow alleyways were once busy with servants hurriedly running errands.
Hear that music? It feels so natural that you hear such kind of music in such kind of houses. The Gan family was famous for their artistic talent. It is said by the end of Qing Dynasty, the few hundred people in the family, each one of them could play a musical instrument. And they're mostly fond of kunqi, a particular kind of local opera. Even today, many people still come here and gather together to practice kunqi. They call themselves friends of kunqi.
These amateur kunqi singers meet here every weekend in the old residence. I was surprised to find one foreign face among them.
I've always had a form of theatrical performance and of music in my life, and so when I came to Nanjing, it was natural for me to look for a way to include theater and music in my life, and kunqi is the most beautiful form of opera in China.
How does it attract you?
Well, it's slower than most forms of Chinese opera, and it's more emotive. For me, a lot of the other kinds of Chinese opera are very rapid and very martial, a lot of war stories. And kunqi, if you look at things like Mudan Ting, they're mostly love stories, a lot of solos, very long, protracted, and because of that, they have a greater emotional power. And the texts are very beautiful as well.
With a history of over 600 years, kunqi is one of the finest and oldest forms of local operas in China. Somehow, the slow melody just matches the old houses and rooms, which are full of untold memories and stories. For a taste of the local flavors, one recommendation is the Shiziqiao Street, in conjunction of Hunanlu Street. Here, the Nanjing Da Paidang restaurant is one good choice. Its deliberate antique decorations, as well as the furniture, indicate a clear vow to provide a flavor that is 100% indigenous.
There are so many local delicacies but I can only recommend a few. So here we are. This one is called Shizitou. Literal translation would be the head of a lion. And this, root of lotus stuffed with rice. And this is called Luhao, something only available around Nanjing area. And the last one is called Tang Yu Miao. Actually, it's little taro, something like a sweet dessert. I've got to try this one first.
Early morning is the time a city reveals its natural beauty, before it disguises itself in the artificial makeup of traffic jams and noisy crowds. That's why I chose to get up early to do some jogging, to get a glimpse of the local life in Nanjing. But jogging is probably the most boring exercise in Nanjing. This little bamboo toy is called Zhu Ming Tang.